So good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Escape Hatch to Wellness. And today's topic is actually aromatherapy and healing from the inside out with the benefits of aromatherapy. And my special guest today is Sheila Tucker, who is a registered nurse, but also an international advocate and a mentoring strategist who promotes health and wellness through the benefits of having aromatherapy as part of a lifestyle. So welcome, Sheila, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Yvette. I appreciate you.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to have you here because, you know, when it comes time from my side, from functional medicine side, you know, you have integrated two completely different forms of healing people, traditional as well as non-traditional, and they've come together beautifully. And I know that your story starts with you. So do you mind sharing with the audience how you came to be and really your introduction into aromatherapy and your healing process?
Sure. So it was about 2013 that I finally got a diagnosis for a maddening chronic illness that was just nobody could pinpoint. And as a nurse of more than 20 years, ICU, critical care, emergency department, all of that, I was sold out for medicine. And, you know, I had gone doctor, trying to figure out what was wrong with me until finally I landed at a neurologist's office with a fairly hopeless sense of, this guy's just going to be another waste of my copay, another waste of time. I'm not going to really find any answers. And when he gave me the diagnosis of stiff person syndrome, which is a 1 in 2 million diagnosis, people just don't have that. It's a very rare thing. It grows cancer antibodies in the bloodstream. And the symptoms act a lot like Parkinson's and multiple sclerosis. So it's extremely painful and difficulty walking, difficulty with all facets of daily activities with life, including breathing and swallowing. I was pretty desperate for a cure, and he offered me no hope. I went from specialty hospital to specialty hospital, and in February of 2014, I was so sick that multiple doctors and hematologists and oncologists said, you need to get your affairs in order. So I was in so much pain that I just couldn't stand living anymore. And I was calling funeral homes, preparing for my own funeral, when I saw this lady who kept posting on Facebook, you know, that she had essential oils that could help with all kinds of different stuff. And I just thought in my brain, I thought, gosh, I wonder if they can help me with this pain. And so I reached out, and she came over and did a wellness consult with me and left me with essential oil samples. And I started getting better. I started feeling better. And within 3 weeks, I got my own kit and I started using doTERRA essential oils, and I just kept getting better and better. Within 3 months, I was walking without the aid of my walker or without my wheelchair. I was able to put my service animal into retirement, and I continued to get more healthy and more well. And the doctor was so impressed. My own family physician, she said, my God, Sheila, we thought you were going to die. I said, girl, I thought I was going to die. And she said, whatever you're doing, I want to be a part of it. And so now we also teach essential oil and health and wellness classes at her office and with her clients and with anybody that wants to know, because as a medical professional, it is truly medically negligent of me, if I know that something works and helps people, for me to just keep that to myself. I can't do that. That's medical negligence. So we have teams of doctors that we work with and hospitals across the country that are using essential oils in patient care now. And you can actually order essential oils from the pharmacy at the hospital. So cool. I know, right?
Wow, that's really impressive, because not only was it part of your healing process, but, you know, when you became a nurse, obviously you went through traditional schooling to become a nurse. And was
Absolutely.
aromatherapy or were essential oils ever introduced into? No?
No. And Yvette, the saddest thing is that since I've been doing this, it's not just essential oils that we use to help with people with health and wellness. I mean, I know we're talking about that today. However, we also incorporate food. Okay. We have to look at their lifestyle. We have to look at their sleep. We have to look at their toxic load, all of those things, their exercise, their flexibility, all of that plays into whether a person is healthy and well. And essential oils is that top part of being proactive in your health and wellness and being informed in your medical care. So we use all of these tools to access health and wellness. And when I went through nursing school, we touched on very, very basic nutrition, just basically about calories in, calories out. And when somebody's on a ventilator or life support, they need a certain amount of calories to be able to sustain life. And so that was all that we discussed. We didn't discuss or go into depth about, different carbohydrates or whether they were, had fat, the solubility of fats and all of those things that we teach when we are health and wellness advocates. So yeah, it was medicine, calories, and keeping somebody alive so that their body could heal itself. And that's something that we teach all the time, is that the body knows intuitively how to repair itself. All you have to do is give it the tools necessary to be able to fix what's broken.
It's amazing that our bodies are miracles. And you cannot duplicate a body. You can give birth to a child, but you can't grow one in a lab. It just doesn't work that way. No. And I believe recently, Bruce Lipton, who has been advocating on taking your mind out of healing, basically, when you get your mind out of it, then your body will do the work it's meant to do. Dr. Joe Dispenza is another one who promotes that same philosophy, is that when you change your mind, you change everything. And
I'm so glad you brought up Joe, because we're going to see him in January in Marco Island.
Oh my gosh, he is amazing.
I'm so excited. We got a whole week.
He's one of the three amigos. You have Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, and Joe Dispenza. And I am so excited for you, because he is, you want to talk about somebody who also healed themselves from the inside just by changing his mindset. So I teach meditation. So when it comes time for teaching meditation, and what I do, granted, I'm a certified functional medicine health coach, but I really am more of a mindset coach, because I really want to deal with the mental blocks that are keeping you tied to your dis-ease and your illness. So we are right on the same page, Sheila. I'm so excited.
Me too.
Now, when it comes time for the wellness consult that woman came over to your house and gave you, how detailed was it? And was she able to, obviously you told her what medically was going on, but how did she know what essential oils to work with your disease and your diagnosis?
That is a wonderful question. I'm so glad you asked that, because just like when you go to a doctor, okay, you have to, or even when you try a recipe for the first time, okay, you have to add things, take things out, adjust it here, taste it, see if it works. Well, a doctor doesn't just bring you in and say, oh, this medicine is going to fix you. What do they say? They say, we're going to try this for 30 days and we're going to bring you back. Or we're going to try this for 6 months and then we're going to bring you back. And we're going to see, and we're going to adjust, and we're going to determine if that's the right course of treatment for you. The same principle applies to any wellness plan that a person is going to do. Even when you're starting an exercise, you don't start them at the top, doing 10 reps of, hardcore lunges. You start somebody at, okay, we're going to start small. We're going to go slow, and we're going to see how you tolerate this. And then we're going to move on to step number 2. And the same concept applies when you're using an essential oil or any natural wellness product. You want to start slow and then work your way up. And when she came over, she had never known me before. She didn't understand my diagnosis. She was not a medical professional. She had no idea, but she did have a basic knowledge of essential oils. And at the time, we just had a basic array of essential oils offered to us through doTERRA. And she knew intuitively and through her studies that doTERRA had the most pure essential oils on the planet. And she was going to offer me what she knew. And we just did a trial and error. And ultimately, I did use a lot of frankincense in those first 3 months. I used a lot of frankincense, and I didn't understand why it made me feel so good, but I continued to use it because it made me in here and in here just feel good. And I now studying it, I wanted to learn more. I wanted to understand, why does this make me feel so good? After studying the science and the molecular chemistry, I love studying chemistry. It's one of my favorite things in all the world. I just dig it. It's my thing. I'm just kind of a nerd that way. When I come to different studies, I want to really dive in and really dig and figure out what's going on. And when I uncovered what was happening when I used frankincense, it was like a light bulb moment for me, because once you unlock that mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell, you have access to all of that stored energy that's within every cell of your body. And studying frankincense, that's exactly what it does. It goes in, one of the things that it does, I mean, it's got over 200 different molecules in it that can unlock 200 different things within your body, over 200 different things. One of the things is that it unlocks the ability for your body to make energy and to hold on to that energy and to unlock that potential that's stored within every mitochondria of every cell in your body. And that's powerful when you're trying to heal and you don't have the energy to get your head off the pillow, you know?
Absolutely. And frankincense has been around for thousands of years. I mean, that was one of the original things that were brought and the gifts of the kings to Christ when he was born.
And you know, Yvette, it's so funny you bring that up, because as we hear about that story of the Christ child and they brought frankincense, myrrh, and gold, well, everybody knows what gold is, right? Or we think we know what gold is. Okay, now going back in time, I will tell you that we believe now, after studying the essential oil or the resins, because back then it wasn't an essential oil, it was a resin, and it's still a resin today. It comes out of a tree, and then it's distilled into an essential oil. Okay, easy to consume, very powerful, 50 to 70 times more powerful than its herbal counterpart. But when you look into the resins of the Bible, they believe that gold was actually turmeric.
I can understand why, and turmeric is great for inflammatory reasons. Oh my gosh, there's not a day that I don't take turmeric. It is a phenomenal, and sauteed turmeric as a food is one of the best little herbal additions to your food.
Exactly.
Heavenly. It is heavenly.
Exactly. And that's, and frankincense is right along that same line. I mean, it is a powerful, it's extremely powerful immune modulation components, as well as inflammatory modulation components. When you talk about working in a model of support and to help your body overcome inflammatory issues, frankincense is where it's at. Now, I will tell you also that myrrh, historically, you may not have known this, but historically for thousands of years, myrrh was used to soothe and assist with gingivitis issues, esophageal sores and ulcers, stomach ulcers and sores. And the moment that you use myrrh internally through the rectum, it will stop rectal bleeding.
Well, when you talk about that, and this is an odd subject, but is that like through using a basti, or do you mix that with an oil? Or
You can use it as a small enema with a syringe. You can put it in a mix it into a capsule format and use it rectally. You can use it in a suppository format. You can do an enema format. All of that.
Interesting. How fascinating. And I didn't know that about myrrh. But to go back to frankincense, though, and with you specifically, now, were you just applying that topically to different areas of your body? Or were you using a diffuser? Were you taking it internally? How were you?
All of it.
All the above. Okay.
You got it. All of it. As soon as I discovered, hey, this makes me feel good, I started practicing. I started experimenting with myself. And I started thinking, this makes me feel really, really good when I do this way. So I would try it on my throat. I would try it on my neck. I would try it over my abdomen. I would try a drop under my tongue. I'd put a drop in my water. I'd mix it with a citrus oil. I'd take out the citrus oil and see if it made any difference. I would swish my mouth out with it. I would do oil pulling with it, all of the above, until I was like, this makes me feel really, really good. And I need to continue to use it. And now I want to find out why. Why does it make me feel so amazing? That's when I dived into the chemical constituents. And I love that part. I love the science. And that's the cool thing about doTERRA, is that they are a science company and they are all about the science. You can take your bottle of frankincense or wild orange or lavender. They have a code on there where us nerds, okay, or any, doctor that wants to know more, or a person that wants to know more, can type in the code on the website that they have, and you can look at the mass spectrometry and gas chromatography of that specific batch of oils.
Well, I'm looking at I have a bottle of Serenity here. I used it this morning when I was going to teach yoga at the hospital. So I got the QR code there, and there's a number. Is that where, like on the bottle, is that what I would go look up on doTERRA's website?
So currently, Serenity is a blend of oils. Okay, so we're going to take one oil like lavender or vetiver or fennel, and on the bottom is a lot number on the very bottom.
Yep.
Okay, and you type that in at source2u.com. There's a little area on source, SOURCE, 2TOYOU.com. And at that point, you will be able to pull up the GCMS of that specific oil. Now, they don't have that for the blends, because think about it, there's a lot of oils within a blend, okay? So, but you could go to the specific individual oil and get that.
Got it. Well, you know what? The whole concept of, when I say aromatherapy, I think most people would think just what you use with a diffuser in a room to make the room smell good. But aromatherapy is not just that. As you mentioned, it's the essential oils. But there's something that you said a few minutes ago, which was that it was oil in its purest form. So can we talk about doTERRA specifically versus, let's say, Young Living oils and the companies that you would find in the grocery store?
Absolutely. So the reason that I chose doTERRA mainly is because my husband is a researchologist, okay? and he was like, honey, doTERRA is the most pure essential oil out there. I mean, they hands down, there is no other. I mean, the only competition that they have is ignorance, because people just truly don't know. They don't know that when they go to Walmart or a drugstore or a health food store and they think that they're buying something good for their body, it's because they're just not educated. They truly do not know the difference that purity has. This is the most pure plant on the planet, and doTERRA seeks out the farmers that are artisans in their craft. They've had the farms, some of them generational farmers, and they cut out the middleman. They don't want an oil broker to help them with the oil. I'll give you one example that really spoke volumes for me. Vetiver. Vetiver is an essential oil that has a very high content of sesquiterpenoids, which cross through the blood-brain barrier in moments, and they affect the neurological function of the brain and of the body, helping a person to feel more calm, relaxed, less tense, and oftentimes they just fall asleep when they use vetiver. So the most pure, you can grow vetiver right here in Florida. You don't have to go anywhere else and buy vetiver. You can grow it in your backyard here in Florida. However, the most pure vetiver on the planet grows in Haiti, down in Haiti, okay, where it's a tropical climate. The ground, the soil, the conditions are perfect. So the people there were so enslaved to this vetiver trade that they were harvesting the plant every 6 months so that they could get a payday twice a year. Well, doTERRA came in and they said, listen, we need you to allow the vetiver to grow in the ground for 18 months, because that's when the most medicinal properties of the plant come into the root. Okay, that's where the most medicinal properties are at, is at 18 months. And the farmers were like, whoa, no, we got to get paid. We can't do that. You know, I mean, this is practically, it's a third world country down there in Haiti. Even though it's so close to the United States, you just can't even imagine. I've been down there on a mission trip. It's devastating down there. And so doTERRA said, listen, we're going to pay you to leave the plant in the ground longer. And when you harvest, when you have the most pure plant product, we're going to give you a bonus for not putting any chemicals on it, for not, ruining the plant, for not doing this, not doing that. I mean, all of these different entities that they go through to make sure that everything is pure. They distill a section of the plant on site. They test on site to make sure that it is accurate and proper and everything is done the pure way. Okay, so when they started doing this, the Haitians said, we've never done this before, and doTERRA said, well, we want you to get other farmers to do it with you. Not just one farmer or two farmers. We want everybody working as a cooperative. They call it a co-op, okay? And the Haitians were like, we've never seen this before. We've never done this before. It's unfamiliar. So they had to it took many years to get a cooperative together where everybody understood what was expected of them, lots of translators. And then doTERRA Corporate also went down there on multiple trips to get everything cemented in place. And this is just one oil. This is just one oil that I'm telling you about. Now, they do this with every single oil, okay? And the farmers are committed to us, committed to doTERRA exclusively. Mm-hmm. These are exclusive oils that we have for doTERRA. So when corporate went down there, Yvette, they noticed that these people in these communities had no fresh running water, none.
It's sad, isn't it?
It is. It was devastating. And I've been there, and you just can't even wrap your brain around it until you see the absolute devastation. And human life is truly undervalued. And to be old there is like 45. Yeah. Okay. So whenever they saw that they had no clean running water, the one well driller in the entire country, took a year for them to get him to have an opening to come and drill wells for the co-op of farmers. The day that they turned on the water, there was a lines of people that were waiting with their buckets to come and get fresh water that was solar powered pumps. They use solar powered pumps to get the water up out of the ground, which was amazing. I thought that was super cool. In any event, a fight broke out down in the line of the people. And doTERRA Corporate was like, look, this should be a happy time. We're turning on water. You're going to have fresh water forever. What's going on here? So they sent the interpreters and the leaders of the group down to the middle of the line to find out what's happening. You're supposed to be happy. And the people were so used to lack that they were fighting that there's not going to be enough water. Don't let everybody in the front of the line get all the water because there's not going to be enough. And doTERRA reassured them, no, this water is going to flow forever. we will always make sure that this water flows forever. That's the kind of company, the kind of ethics, the kind of morals, the kind of values that I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of changing these third world countries, these people that are totally destitute and impoverished. And doTERRA goes in with the Healing Hands Foundation and really truly assists with those missions, and even to the point of, we have a special blend. It's called the Hope Blend.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't gotten that one yet, please do. Please do. It's only $20, and every dollar goes to rescue enslaved human beings, especially children.
Oh,
And I want to be a part of that.
that.
I know that was the long answer, but that's just one oil. And I could go through story after story that I could just continue to tell you so many stories. But truly, when you have an essential oil that is the most pure on the planet, you can use it for your medicine. And that's what we do here in our home.
Well, you know, the idea of having pure medicine, it makes it, because you can put them on your skin, you can mix them with base oils, which is also an important thing, is having good base oils that are fresh and not past their expiration date, because you don't want to, because they become toxic over time. But being able to ingest essential oils is then the most profound healing, not just coming through the largest organ, the skin, but, mentioned coming through the skin is I use the On Guard on my feet. So what I'll do is I'll put 2 drops on the top of one foot, rub the other one, then switch out. And then that's what I do before I go to bed. And also because I had read a lot about thieves oil historically. And in all the years I worked on ships, it was very rare that I got sick. I never got GI, but I was very conscious of what I touched. My medicine cabinet, I travel with a bottle of tea tree oil at all times, never go anywhere without it. And and the thieves oil, as I use thieves oil constantly. And even with that, when COVID started, I started putting a drop of On Guard on our mask whenever we would go in public. And I was like, well, if, thieves did it, during the bubonic plague, this sure as heck should work during COVID. So that's what my husband and I have been doing with the On Guard ever since then. Yep.
Very smart. Very smart. I take 5 drops of the On Guard and I put it in a little, you just recycle your bottle. I don't know if you know this or not. Just put a little bit of water in there, 5 or 10 drops of On Guard, and put a little sprayer on the top of it. They've got sprayers that'll match your 15 ml bottle. And you can put that in your pocket, your purse, wherever. And then you just spray the inside of your mask and the outside of your mask. Put that in your, I put it in the windshield of my car just to keep it dry, and keep it in the car so I have it ready for me. Or put it back in your purse, whatever you want to do, just so that your mask is always with you and it's always sanitized.
That's the most important part, because I work.
Also spray it on the bottom of your feet. When
Yep.
you go in and out of places, you don't ever want to take your shoes into your home, because you've been in hallways, you've been in different establishments. You want to spray the bottom of your shoes or take your shoes off.
That from a nurse who has been in all kinds of environments when it comes time for germs in all ways, shapes, or form. Yeah, we have a little shoe hutch just inside the door. So that's, you walk in the door, shoes off. Yep, never.
I spray my hair too. I'll spray my hair down, because you don't know how many cooties will get up in your hair. And I mean, it's just, and go straight to you pass the laundry room, drop your clothes in the washer, and go straight to the bathroom and take a shower.
So from your experience and from what you have been, I guess I wouldn't say educated, but what inspired to share is, what essential oils should everybody have at least one of that type in their medicine cabinet at all times?
Lemon, lavender, peppermint, On Guard, frankincense, melaleuca. Those are like the 6 that I can think of off the top of my head. You can pretty much solve about every problem with those 6 essential oils. Lemon, lavender, peppermint, On Guard, melaleuca, frankincense, myrrh. That's about it.
Okay. So then let's take them one by one and just give a, 3 things that each one is good for, if that's.
Oh my goodness. Now you're going to test me, huh? You
Yeah.
want me to go into the aldehydes, esters, ketones, alcohol? All of
Not from a chemist.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I won't bore you half to death with all of that stuff. So let's start with frankincense. So I'm just real quick studying in my book here. I have several books. I love the Modern Essentials book. These are not specific to any essential oil brand necessarily. However, I will tell you this one is my absolute favorite because it's got tons of recipes in it.
Okay.
In fact, there's one in here that everybody wants to know, how do I get off of this blood pressure medication? Okay. And so we start talking about cardiovascular tension, if you will, and how to support a body during times of cardiovascular tension. And there's a specific roller ball that I can blend up for them. It only costs about $20 for the roller ball. And they use it 3 times a day on 3 different areas of their body. And we've been able to even my doctor calls me and she's like, tell me what that blend is, because all these people don't want to go on blood pressure medication. They want a natural solution for their blood pressure. And so we use an essential oil blend and people are coming off of their blood pressure medications. And to me, that's a miracle. That's a miracle. And I want to be a part of something that is bigger than me. And so, giving people empowerment is amazing. And some of those oils that are in that blood pressure reliever are helichrysum, ylang ylang, cassia, frankincense, and marjoram. So let's just take frankincense, just that one oil in that one blend that can help with all kinds of different things. So it can help with healthy brain activity. So think of somebody that has brain issues. Whether they've got Alzheimer's, MS, ADHD, maybe they've had a brain injury, maybe they've got a TBI, I don't know. But frankincense can help.
Well, what about someone with PTSD?
Exactly. You got it. That's exactly right. And so people say, as a nurse, this was the very first thing that came out of my mouth is, okay, I've got this bottle of essential oils with 250 drops in it, and I don't know what to do, because, excuse me, I've got a paraglider going on behind me. You might hear that in the video. So you might, if you're like me, I wanted to know, well, how do I take it? Orally, rectally, vaginally, topically, internally, inhale it? How do I do it? I don't understand. And furthermore, how often? How often do I do it? Basic rule of thumb for any essential oil is 2 to 3 drops, 2 to 3 times a day. Okay. That's your basic rule of thumb. Now, if you're dealing with something chronic or something that is going to be a long-term situation, like with me, okay, I'm going to do 1 to 3 drops, 3 to 5 times a day. If I'm dealing with something acute, like let's say you woke up this morning and you had that, oh my gosh, I feel hot, I don't feel good, you got snot running down your face, it's like, oh no, then you're going to use 3 to 5 drops, maybe more than 5 times a day. Okay, for a short period of time. You never want to go more than 24 drops of all combinations of essential oils. You don't want to go more than 24 drops in a 24-hour period. So that's your basic rule of thumb. Okay, so I hope that helps.
Yep.
Orally, you're going to get the essential oil in a very high quantity. Not everybody needs that. Think of children and elderly. They don't need that extreme amount of essential oil in their body. Okay, just like any medication that you would give someone, you would dose a child way low, whereas a fully formed liver on an adult, you would give them a healthier dose. Okay, whereas a man, you would give them an even more healthy dose depending on their stature, their structure, and what's going on within their body. Okay, so
just a quick question about the oral. So with an oral dose, would it just be a drop under the tongue and hold it for a minute and then swallow, or would you add it to water and then ingest it with water?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Both. You do whatever it is that you think is appropriate for your situation.
Okay.
That's what you do. And for me and my family, we do all different ways, all kinds of different ways. With frankincense, you can just add a drop to your tongue or put it in a capsule. You don't like the way it tastes because it does taste like trees. Comes from a tree. Tastes like trees. Okay. If you don't like the way it tastes, then you can just put it in a capsule and swallow it down. And I would do 1 drop and see how you feel. Okay. Give it 45 minutes and see how you feel. When I blend the frankincense with a little marjoram, maybe like 1 or 2 drops of frankincense with 1 or 2 drops of marjoram and 1 or 2 drops of vetiver, I can tolerate my pain, even though it may be at a level 6 or more, but it doesn't affect here and it doesn't affect here. And I'm a better mom and I'm a better wife and I'm a better friend when I have something on board to help mitigate that discomfort.
That's, you said frankincense, vetiver, and
Marjoram. Marjoram. Yeah, you put that in a capsule and just swallow it down. And I take it with, I always follow it with a healthy fat, like maybe half of an avocado or a handful of nuts, so that it helps assimilate the fat in the nuts and the avocado or the olives, help to assimilate the essential oil into your body much more readily.
And
so hopefully that helps. So we're back on frankincense. You can even apply it around this area to assist with any imperfections in your skin. And also it will help with your vision. Historically, I don't know if you've ever seen the pictographs in Egyptian times where they had these big, long, beautiful black eyeliner. Okay, so that was the ashes of burnt frankincense resin. And they would take that resin and they would paint it over the eyes because it assisted with vision and to help, because they didn't have glasses back then. Think about it. You know, they called that kohl, K-O-H-L. Kohl.
You know what, obviously they didn't have computers back then. So really anybody who works on a computer or stares at their iPhone for hours, not only should you have that yellow tint to your glasses, but if frankincense will help with that, because I know how tired some days my eyes are from looking at my computer and they're exhausted, you know, so that frankincense is on my list now.
So there's a blend that I do want to encourage you to investigate. It's called Immortelle. It's got frankincense, myrrh, helichrysum, rose, and lavender.
Well, it has rose, and I love rose, yeah.
Okay, and so you want to use, and the way that I use it to save more money, it's not expensive, but, and it'll last like 9 or 10 months. Just roll a little bit on your finger, and then rub your fingers together, and then tap, 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 like that around the orbits of your eyes. I could tell you story after story after story after story about people that have had to get their prescriptions adjusted, that have had to, in the downward format. There even people that have had glasses and have gone up every single year have gone back down. So just miraculous stories about vision, and then the little imperfections in the skin that come up over time with all of us.
Same thing is like 2 to 3 times a day.
No, I would just use it twice a day, once in the morning, once at night, or just at least use it once a day. You know, I mean, just get it on there. You know, if you need to, it comes in a convenient roller ball. You can put it in your purse, and that way you can just roller it on while you're sitting in traffic or driving or whatever. You know, just make sure you don't get it in your eyeball.
I'll get 2 of those, one for me, one for my husband. He has a really extreme stigmatism, and he could definitely use this.
I agree with you completely. You know, a lot of people use frankincense for issues related to supporting cellular function, supporting proper cellular function. So if you can imagine people that have a cellular dysfunction, maybe somebody that has been growing the wrong kind of antibodies, or their skin, or they have a certain type of growth that's happening with lumps and bumps and that kind of thing,
Right.
internally or externally, moles and other things that people can, humans and animals. I mean, our dog had a giant growth on her body, and we used arbor vitae, which is an essential oil that comes from a tree, and frankincense on that growth.
Mm-hmm.
And within 7 days, it was completely gone. So I just want to say that frankincense has some massive power behind it.
What I think would be really good for me, just on a personal, as a side note, is to bring some of that into my meditation classes and give each person a drop in their hands to start class with, to rub together and just to breathe, that to help with, because my meditation is focused on the concept of going to the deepest level in order to release the body's innate healing wisdom. So if the sense of smell helps to exacerbate that in a positive way, then that would help my students tremendously.
The other thing that's going to help them tremendously is when you come from the world of, everything is so busy and so chaotic and so intense, using a little lavender on their forehead or on the tips of their toes can also help, even if you just put it in their hand and just let them rub their hand together and take, and inhale.
Yeah.
They're going to feel so much better, because lavender, again, over 200 different molecular ingredients in one single plant bottle. It's unbelievable. Each drop goes directly through the epidermis, through the dermis, into the capillary bed of your bloodstream and circulates through your body and is within every single tissue of your body within 20 minutes. And when somebody comes from an incredibly difficult environment, you don't even know how hard they work just to get to that class, for example, their mind may have a difficult time shutting off. That brain chatter is like so strong in their mind that they need to shut that off. And in order to do that, lavender is your go-to oil. It's your favorite oil to go to help with things like somebody that's in a domestic situation, somebody that has agitation, sadness. That is one of the main things that people use lavender for. They also use it for seasonal discomfort. When you have that runny nose feeling, or it's going down the back of your throat, or your eyes are puffy and red and itchy, lavender has an ability to assist with all of those types of physiological issues. All you have to do is take 1 to 2 drops, 1 to 3 times a day, orally, or you can use it topically, put it right there on your throat, or you could put it, if you don't like the smell of lavender, you put it on the back of your neck or down the lumbar spine area. Use, again, 1 to 3 drops, 3 times a day. Okay? Now, we do have a blend at doTERRA that helps with seasonal issues. It's called Tri-Ease, and it blends lemon, lavender, and peppermint together so that you can, it puts it in a gel cap so that you can swallow that once or twice a day to assist with those seasonal discomforts.
Now, I've also used lavender when I've had burns, like sunburn, and also with, like, if I'm cooking and I touch a pan, I have a burn from that. I've used lavender on that to help to, number one, avoid a scar, but it takes the heat out of the burn.
Yes, it does. And here's something from a female perspective, if you want to use this, or a male perspective. It can also be used romantically as a type of aphrodisiac.
Really? A little behind the ears, perhaps?
Yeah. You got it. That's right. And for women that have that are pregnant and they have that morning sickness feeling, it can be used to assist with that feeling as well. In fact, let's move to lemon for just a moment, because they did a double-blind study of pregnant women that were having hyperemesis gravidarum, which is that constant nausea and vomiting when you're pregnant. And lemon essential oil worked better than the most prescribed medication for that particular issue.
Oh my gosh, that's huge.
And it was just a topical application and a inhaled application, and it stopped it. So just throwing it out there before you go trying something that could be a toxic chemical for your body and your baby. Why don't you try something natural like the peel of a lemon that is squeezed in a cold pressed environment? And when you have the peel of lemons that come from Italy, okay, now I can grow lemons right here in Florida, so can you. You probably have some.
Yeah.
But when you have the most medicinal properties from the lemons that are huge, we call those lemons here in Florida grapefruits. Okay, I mean they're giant, right? So the lemons in Italy have the most medicinal property in their rind, and so doTERRA seeks out the lemons from Italy for that reason.
Interesting.
Very, very good for stings and vascular tension regulation. Hope you got that one. Also for the common cold, if you will, and or dry throat, exhaustion. So if you're driving in the car and you need a little pick-me-up, grab your lemon oil, take a deep breath of it. It'll help you wake up and stay alert while you drive. Also to help with water purification. So if you don't want a lemon that has been cut by somebody at the restaurant or has been, you don't know whether it was washed off, you don't know whether a kid coughed on it, sneezed on it, whatever, in the grocery store, grab your little bottle of essential oil. It has 250 drops in it, and for 4 cents, you can drop a drop of essential oil of lemon in your water and purify your water and help your body to detoxify properly. So just throwing that out there. It also helps stimulate your immune system so that you have a stronger immune system in the long run. The oil of Melaleuca. And that is like your Swiss Army knife of oils. Okay, Melaleuca is like your Swiss Army knife. When you come, I mean, even the soldiers down in Australia are required to have Melaleuca in their little, pack. It's like liquid Band-Aid, right? So if you get a cut, a scrape, an injury, you're just going to grab out your Melaleuca and just put it right on there. Just apply it. If you start to get one of those little things on your lip, you just apply your Melaleuca right there. And yeah, I know, right? Things you never knew that you didn't know that you needed to know, right? If you get any kind of issue from wet showers, like on the bottom of your feet, or a lot of guys will get this, because they just don't take really good care of their feet. And some women athletes will get this too. You just use a little Melaleuca and put maybe a couple of drops of Melaleuca in your hand, a couple of drops of a carrier oil, like either coconut oil, almond oil, jojoba oil, grapeseed oil, olive oil, any carrier oil, okay, or you called it a base oil. Rub that together, apply that to the feet and the toes and in between the toes, and do that twice a day. That issue will resolve itself naturally.
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Now, I know that Melaleuca can be really drying, which is one of the reasons why you want to use a carrier oil or a base oil, because it can just be so dehydrating to the skin. So it's really important to have that. Yep.
And so I could go through the hundreds of molecular constituents that are in Melaleuca oil that are important to help resolve that issue. And this is the thing that people need to understand, is that when you have an oil that you purchase, let's say at, I don't even know if you know this, but like Best Buy. Best Buy has essential oils. They're pure. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And you got to look at it and go, really? Let's take a look at that. You can send that in for your own mass spectrometry and gas chromatography. I don't know if you know that or not. You pay about $250 to an essential oil company that will test that for you, like the aromatic plant research company will test that for you. So will Dr. Pappas, all right, at the Essential Oil University, he'll test it for you as well, and send you the gas chromatography and mass spectrometry of your highly contaminated, diluted essential oil that you purchase from Best Buy or Walmart.
Oh my gosh, I can
Yeah.
only imagine.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. We even purchased, we did our own study because I just wanted to make sure that I was getting the most pure product on the planet. And sometimes you can find doTERRA essential oils for cheaper on Amazon, right?
Mhm.
And so I was like, well, what's the difference here? So I sent in a bottle from the company to an essential oil expert that did a study. And I also sent in from Amazon to an essential oil company, and they did the mass spectrometry gas chromatography on both oils. The one that came from doTERRA was 100% pure without any molecular contamination. This was a bottle of frankincense, by the way. And the one that came from Amazon was contaminated with turpentine.
So how did that happen? If it was marked the doTERRA bottle on Amazon, how would it not be the same of what being sold through a distributor from doTERRA?
That's a great question, Yvette. Unfortunately, you can buy those little caps with the seals,
Oh,
and you can just purchase a whole gaggle of those little caps with the seals. And so the oil gets taken out, the essential oil, the pure oil gets taken out and gets replaced or diluted with something like either a carrier oil, which is a lot cheaper, or something that is molecularly similar to an essential oil, like a terpenoid, like turpentine.
yeah,
I
but
know.
turpentine is what you use to clean your paintbrushes with, you know?
Yeah, but once you put it in a bottle of, something that has a high molecular count of terpenoids, now the terpenoids are different, you won't be able to tell the difference. You won't, I promise you. And same thing with linalool. When you get an essential oil of lavender from another company, you'll smell this uniquely high sweet content. And when you send that in, you'll discover that that is a molecular contamination called linalool. And it's just a wetting agent that they place all over any type of plant material that causes the end product to be contaminated and diluted and molecularly altered. That is not what you want. You do, if you're going to spend the money to have pure plant-based medicine in your medicine cabinet, make sure that it's good. Don't, make sure that you do your research and you study and you understand what you're buying. Yeah.
It's interesting.
And that way you don't have to use so much either. And you have a consistent product with a consistent result.
When you're in those stores and you pick up a bottle and you open up the tester, you can typically, if you have a really good olfactory machine in your head, you can actually smell the difference. And the nose tells the palate what's coming, but at the same time, the nose can tell more sense than the palate can tell, taste. But you can actually really almost taste, like even when the oil, the carrier oil, the base oil has gone off, you can smell it. It shows up. And if you have a rose oil that smells off, it just means that something has either it's been synthetic or it's in a bad oil that has turned as well. So it's really, like you said, do your homework, do your due diligence, and don't just take one person's information as gospel, but
right. And don't even take mine as gospel. Seriously. Just because I said something doesn't make it true. Okay. Do your own research, buy your own books, get into your own, go to the Aromatic Plant Research Company's website, ARPC's website, go to source2u.com, go to source2u.com, go to, another one, an excellent resource. I have to recommend this to everybody that wants to really dive in and know more. Our government has already funded studies on all of these essential oils. I don't know if you know that or not. There are tons of published articles and government-funded studies based on essential oil research. So if you want to know more about that, go to aromaticscience.com. aromaticscience.com. Now check this out. You can go to the top search bar on the right-hand side. Just go to aromaticscience.com. Type in the search bar something that you're dealing with, like blood pressure or headache or stomach ache or diverticulitis or whatever. And up will pop all of the studies that have been done related to essential oils and that particular subject. And you can start reading your little heart out. Now, that is the nerd in me. I love doing that. I love going in and I love discovering what have, I may not know what your particular condition is, but I might ask you the symptoms of that particular condition, and we will go from there and we will find a solution to your problem. And we will just keep digging. And that's when I work with people. That is what I do. I go and I get deeper with them. I don't want them to ever feel like they're on their own and they have to struggle or flounder for issues or for information. I'm constantly digging and constantly learning more every day, not just about my own self, but about them as well. And that is truly so rewarding. I love being a wellness advocate, and I love helping people dig in and help them with their solutions for natural health and wellness. So my last thing I want to tell you about real quick is peppermint oil. Peppermint oil is like again, you asked me what are the number one oils that I would recommend: lemon, lavender, peppermint, melaleuca, frankincense, On Guard, all of these things. You talked about On Guard and using that as a model of prevention to help you with, whatever you were dealing with. I mean, gosh, a cruise ship is like a petri dish. It's almost like worse than an airplane. It's like an airplane you have to sit on for 7 days. It's yuck. And so peppermint is one of those essential oils that has a plethora of uses. I mean, for me as a nurse, when I started getting into this, I was so confused. I was like, okay, wait a minute. You can't just rub a Tylenol on your body and think that it's going to reduce your fever or stop your headache, And furthermore, if you want to get to the root of the matter, just because I have a headache doesn't mean I have a Tylenol deficiency. What's going on, And so you want to get to the root. There's lots of reasons why somebody might have a headache. You could be low in blood sugar. You could be tired. You could have eye strain. You could need glasses. You could have a toothache. You could, be dealing with something in the carotids you don't know about, something in the heart that you don't know about. You could be dealing with lots and lots and lots of different reasons why somebody has a headache, okay? Not just fever and all of that stuff. But peppermint will help to go to the root of whatever that issue is and assist the body it'll just assist the body in helping to get rid of whatever it is and to oxygenate the tissues. This was so powerful for me when I learned about peppermint. Just applying peppermint or inhaling peppermint, just open the bottle and take a sniff straight out of the bottle. Instantly, you get 26% more oxygen binding capacity in the bloodstream. That's what? Who doesn't need that?
Yep.
So they did a study of athletes. Okay, they took athletes. You can read this huge study that they did with athletes and performance using peppermint oil, and every single one of them had improved endurance. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
So then, Sheila,
go ahead.
How would peppermint be then with someone who has periodontal issues?
So anybody that has a periodontal issue would have problems with being able to oxygenate the tissue in the gums, okay? Also being able to oxygenate the bone around that area.
Right.
I would choose On Guard for a situation like that. That blend has been studied exhaustively by Dr. David Stour. He's a oral surgeon. And he used On Guard in a huge study that he did to help regrow bone and remineralize the teeth. Using the On Guard toothpaste and using the On Guard essential oil, doing oil pulling every single day. If you don't know what oil pulling is, just Google it. Super simple. Put a couple of drops of On Guard in that oil pull experience, and it'll make a huge difference. The other thing that I would recommend to somebody that had a periodontal issue is myrrh. Myrrh essential oil will help significantly. So, which is amazing because the toothpaste that we have has got myrrh and On Guard in it.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. But peppermint oil, if you've got something that's hurting, I would absolutely use peppermint or clove or On Guard or myrrh. Myrrh has a numbing effect topically in the mouth as well.
Okay, great
Good
information.
question.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's one thing that I find dentistry seems to be about 10 years behind medicine, normal traditional medicine, and they do some things that not that they're, who am I to judge?
Back in the day, Yvette, everybody was taught about things like iridology, okay, because they didn't have MRIs and CAT scans and all of that X-ray material. Okay, everybody was taught about iridology. They were taught about medicinal herbs. They were taught about plants and oils and all of this stuff. However, with the turn of the century came well, in the 1900s, not this turn of the century, the other one, their medicine came into under scrutiny, really, because there were a lot of charlatans out there that were trying to trick people, and they were diluting things, contaminating things. Essential oils became, and resins even became, altered with the invention of the broker. Brokers would go and, like all frankincense resin, everybody knows about the frankincense trail down in Somaliland and on the tip of Africa. Mm-hmm. When you have essential oils or resins or plant material that has been grown in a corrupt environment, and then it's sold to corrupt individuals, and then it is traded by corrupt people that are greedy and wanting to continue to just make money. They're not looking at the end user. They're not thinking about the person that is suffering in the bed and not able to get up. So we need a company that is able to come in and rearrange that whole structure. And that's why I'm super grateful that I have that option with doTERRA.
Well, I am super grateful for the time that you gave me today. I mean, my little brain is exploding because I love aromatherapy. I love essential oils. I have plenty of them in the cupboard and have been using doTERRA. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even tell you when my mom first introduced me to the company. It was when I was working on ships. And, you mentioned about how, ships are a petri dish. And I used thieves oil even back then. Even when I stay in a hotel, I have a spray bottle of it that I make up, and I spray the handles of everything. I spray the remote control, anything that someone could possibly touch, from the lights to you name it, gets sprayed with a little bit of thieves oil. Well, now On Guard, but and the room smells like this pop of like a bakery, because it has a little spicy smell to it, and it smells so lovely. So not only does it smell good, but it kills all the bacteria and germs. So big fan of essential oils, and they've helped me phenomenally, and more on an intuitive level, because I don't have the vast knowledge that you do, but I believe in the old muscle testing thing, and if it smells a certain way, and sometimes if it smells a certain way, and I know it's a good thing, even though my body's going, I sometimes know it's actually what I should be taking and using, not putting it back in the cupboard. So thank you, Sheila, so much for your time. I'll include all of your information, contact below. And if they have any questions, they can reach out to you. I'll use your Florida Oils a Gmail address, correct?
Well, you can use Sheila at FloridaOilsRN.com. Sheila at FloridaOilsRN.com. That is R as in registered, N as in nurse. And I also have a website, FloridaOilsRN.com. And I also have a free app for anybody that would like to learn more and dive in and really truly uncover more about the passion and the purpose of pure plant-based products.
Well, thank you again. Thank you for helping to
Thank you so much for having me, Yvette. I feel honored that you asked, and I just feel grateful to be able to share my knowledge. And I hope that this reaches the masses and just helps thousands, millions of people. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day, and stay safe up there in the Panhandle, okay?
Right. Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye. So thank you for tuning in to the Escape Hatch to Wellness. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe.